Hello there, I'm actually back at WTM, day 3, and I have a chance to meet with Ellie, who is the founder of LikeCube. Hi Ellie, how are you?
Hello, I'm very well.
And I'm also with Ismael here.
Hello.
Ismael is actually the technical person behind LikeCube.
One of them, yes.
One of them, okay. And Ellie, you are the founder?
I am, yeah.
Okay, so can you give me a little bit, in 1 minute, what is exactly LikeCube is doing in the travel space?
So LikeCube basically brings personalisation and recommendation to the travel space. So the need that we're responding to is the fact that when you arrive on a hotel site now, there's so many things that you can use, so much user-generated content, so much choice. Essentially, how do you know who to trust? How do you get some kind of fast filter that's meaningful to you? So that's the space that LikeCube sits.
And LikeCube is working on a B2C environment or B2B environment? What is the core customer base at the moment?
It's B2B. We've launched with Qype, which is the European leader in local listings. So we basically power their personalised recommendations to make the Qype site more meaningful to their users. So if they're looking for a bar or a restaurant or a cafe or a place to stay, making sure that they don't just read all the content or get kind of subsumed in choice, they can see the stuff that means something to them.
And so in terms of recommendations, are you just looking at the travel components, or you said restaurant and bar, so it's not just about travel?
No, it's leisure, hospitality.
Okay.
I think in terms of the starting point of the concept, it was clear that recommendations and the need for personalisation was true in all kinds of verticals, all kinds of sectors. The way that the problem came to me was very much in a leisure context, and so that's where we're addressing at the moment. But the other conversations that we're having are certainly outside the leisure space too.
Okay. And the content, where do you get it from?
So we work with businesses that already have content in the most part. So if we take Qype as an example, they're building a great amount of content, and so how do they leverage that? How do they do the most with it? How do they make sure that people that are committing content actually can use that in order to get more meaningful searches later on? So almost kind of converting that into a way to get recommendations in the future.
So the content is mainly UGC, so reviews done by consumers on different kind of products?
We can use whatever information is made available to us. I mean, the thing about personalisation is that it's a journey. You might give a lot of content, but at one point you haven't given any. So how do we create some kind of filter in the cold start situation? But the more information you give, the more ratings, the more reviews, the more this actually has a function for you. But we can also work with the attributes of sites. So not just looking at user similarity, but also place similarity. And so, as I say, give some kind of solution for people that don't want to contribute or haven't to this point.
Okay. So it strikes me that obviously there's a lot of review sites out there, especially in travel space, like TripAdvisor and many others like Zoover in Europe. But it looks like when I read reviews, it's not really personalized. I just have to scroll down all the reviews for hotel or restaurants. So you guys are basically solving the problem, saying, I want to see the reviews only to people like me.
Exactly. Exactly, and also, this becomes even more meaningful when you're doing a search on a mobile.
Yep.
As we start taking it onto the mobile environment, that filter and that need for pertinent content becomes even more crucial. Like a starting point of the concept was actually that if you arrive in a new city, before you might have looked in guidebooks, you might do that less now, but still you feel that they're quite generic, they can be outdated. You can go to a website and you can see that data is either really scarce or there's too much of it. Actually, how do I navigate my way through this information? And so my starting point was actually, when you arrive somewhere, you're looking for two things. You're looking for the kind of thing that your best friend would tell you to do, who knows you, knows the city, and says, don't go to that restaurant, go to that fantastic bistro around the corner.
Yep.
Or you're looking for the kind of thing you've liked before. So you've loved this hotel in Brussels, this is what you're going to like in Barcelona. So there's kind of correspondences. So basically the technology matches those two needs, the similarity of users and the similarity of places.
So how do you get into the profiling? Do you have to ask me some questions before coming with recommendation? Maybe I should talk to Ismael about this. How does the architecture works? Do you need to ask like 10 questions before you start to do recommendations?
No. To start with, like Ellie mentioned, we can use also information about just the places themselves. And if you give, let's say you say, I liked this one place. You can find similar places based on that. But of course, if you supply only one place, we don't know that much about you yet. So if you review a few more, let's say 3, the results already get much better. And as you go on, the experience gets better and better. You don't have to do them all at the same time. You can do it at your own time, you know. And with the mobile applications, you know, you can even do it in situ. You know, you're in a restaurant, you just, well, I actually enjoyed that meal, so you know, just rate immediately.
Okay. So you rely on your partner Qype, for instance, to make sure that they relegate this information to you guys.
Exactly.
Okay.
It's automatically integrated. So as you add it to Qype, it automatically gets integrated into our own database, and then we can provide the results using that information. And it doesn't have to be Qype. It could be a hotel, like they do. It's common to have post-stay service, for example. So immediately that then can be added to the database. So yes, we can use reviews, we can use ratings, the fact that you've been there, you know, bookings, you know, like Foursquare is nowadays popular, so you know, has the concept of a check-in, also searches. So all this information gets used with a mixture of collaborative filtering plus ontological solution, and to provide results that we think are very good.
So it seems to me like you have something quite unique, which is maybe something we haven't heard too much, which is predictive results. What has been the challenges to develop this kind of technology so far?
Okay, so one of the big challenges is just the, you know, getting all this data, you know. So, you know, like many people have the data, but they kind of keep it to themselves, you know. So to develop the technology, you kind of have to get the data first. And then the other thing is that even though there's a lot of literature, depending on the data you're dealing with, there are things that work a bit differently. You know, if the density is different, or like some places may have, for example, a lot of reviews for each place, like movies, for example. You know.
Yeah.
Where others there might be a very small amount. So working out all these differences and having something that works across them and can tweak itself and, you know, tune itself to all of these scenarios, I think that is the biggest challenge, really.
Have you started to work your technology into different platform applications? Like, obviously, we all hear about the iPhone applications, or is it just purely on the browsers like Firefox and Explorer?
Right now, it's just browsers,
yeah.
But we expect to have it available in phones in the near future, I would say.
Yeah. And I guess you're going to go for the iPhone first?
I think so, yeah.
All right, you're not going to go for the Vodafone apps, no?
Sorry?
Everybody's talking like Vodafone and Orange is going to come with the application store now, and you should not just do iPhone. Maybe.
No, I think it will be iPhone first, but there should be an Android application soon after that, and there might be more. Maybe I'll let you to add anything to that.
No, that's good. I was just going to add a couple of points to things you said, and I think that thing about how we gain information in profiling is an important one, because I think we were really reacting against quite a big upfront investment from our user, which other sites need to answer lots of questions about their likes and their preferences. And the problem with that is not only the time it takes, but also the fact that sometimes people's imaginations aren't in touch with actually what they want to do and they like to do. So trying to use kind of action-based things, I think, is our approach anyway. So we use as much information as we've got on people, both implicit and then of course the explicit information they give us too. In terms of the challenges, so Ismael talked from a technical point of view. If I talk commercially, the concept is came 3-4 years ago now, so it's been interesting how that concept fits within a landscape that's changed. And so going from personalisation being something that people would think maybe, now it's we've got customers coming back to us saying we know we need this. So seeing that shift in landscape has been great, but it's been definitely a challenge over the last few years.
Last question for me, how did you get the funding first for the company, and also what are your perspective for maybe getting more capital into your company to grow?
Okay, so we were really fortunate that the first idea was backed by Nesta, which is the National Endowment for Science, Technology and the Arts. And it's basically the largest endowment in the UK, the innovation agency of the UK. So the first money that was needed in order to make us make that commitment and start developing the technology was provided by Nesta. We also had some follow-on money from the London Development Agency,
okay,
and a bit of private money, but it's been mainly self-funded until this point. We're now at quite an interesting crossroads in terms of where we look for capital moving forwards. We're obviously increasing to grow our client base, but I don't know how much I can say here.
That's okay. Maybe we do a follow-up
Yeah, if that's
interview
all right,
later on.
We'll do a follow-up interview later on. That'd be great.
Thank you very much, Ali. Thank you
No,
very much,
thank
Ismael.
Thank you.